All right, we're back at it. The boat is pretty clean. We're gonna give it one quick wash. I've got a few barnacles growing on the bottom, but we're going into winter. Water's gonna freeze. We won't be able to wash it again until when it warms up. So we're gonna knock this out now. We just cleaned the chimney out, so that's fresh. Washed the boat, and then I guess we'll split some firewood for the end of the season. I don't think we'll run through what we got, but or just start for next year. A quick update: my wife, it's been a week exactly. My wife is still in town. She had if you watched the last video, she had 4 tests done. 2 of the tests have come back, and it was for Giardia and something else, and those were both negative. Welcome to Alaska. She just to get ahead of the game, she scheduled a colonoscopy, and her appointment was a month out. So that's how far doctors and vets are always like a month booked out, a month in advance. So we're still in limbo, just waiting to hear the last 2 results, and then I guess if they come back negative, then we'll have to wait until the colonoscopy to see what they find. Anyways, let's get at washing these barnacles off the boat. And as you can see, it's not bad. We've just got a little bit here, but we've got some growth on the side. We'll just get this all cleaned up, and we're going to be pulling it out of the water every time we come back from town, so we won't have an issue. And normally barnacles grow at like one part of the season, but you know, we're going to be pulling a boat out just because of weather issues. So what we got here is a 50-gallon drum that we ratchet strap in, and then I just bring my pump and the power washer is motor driven, but the pump needs the generator, so that's why I bring a generator with me. I don't know if you can see that light on the other side of the spit there. That is a commercial fishing boat. They are, it's crab season right now, so they're fishing for Dungeness crab. we got the majority of the big stuff knocked off. I'm gonna come back here with the scraper and get in some of these harder spots that it's hard for the pressure washer to get into, but I think she's ready for winter now. Well, all right, let's head back and get these dogs back home too. The commercial guy's still out there checking his pots. All right, well, we got the boat cleaned up yesterday. I told us I'm going to say hello. Where can I put you? Right here? So we got the boat cleaned up yesterday, and my wife called and said she's feeling a little bit better for the last couple of days. So I'm gonna go pick her up tomorrow. But I've had a lot of comments about people don't really understand how the boat works. So hold on, let me see. You see this? So I've got a strap, and I put the strap through the trailer hitch like that. Then I put the pin in. Come on, pin. There we go. Both loops are through. All right. Okay, so then the strap goes around this tree. The reason we do that is because the Jeep's lighter than the boat. And so if I just hook the Jeep up, then it'll just pull the Jeep. And so we need some extra oomph behind the Jeep to keep the Jeep from getting pulled. So then I just stick it neutral, let it roll till it straightens out. And then I get the front lined up nice with the boat, so everything's straight. Just hook the Jeep up. Alright, then we just hook the winch up from the Jeep to the boat. So we had got these big chalk blocks that somebody said get some of these RV brakes, and so we got a couple of these too. Whether they help or not, I don't know, but it feels good to know that there's a little extra something keeping the boat from going in the water. All right, so now that I got that off, I got to winch the boat up a little bit to get it off of the chalk blocks, and then I can move them out of the way and we can start lowering the boat down. And I can go get them out of the way. about a 15-foot tide right now, and as you can see, that's about far out as we can get that winch down. Now what we have is we've got an old cable part to a winch, and if it gets if it's down too far, we can hook this up. We can chalk it, hook this up, and then that's like a little extender, so we can lower it down even lower. But normally on the 15 and up, like 15, 16 to 20, we can just use the winch. And if it's below 15, like 14 and below, then we have to hook this little extender up. Anyways, that's the basic operations. And then I've got to I got to go get a life vest. So let's get a life vest. I'll hook the life vest up in the kayak, and then we paddle out there and put the boat on the mooring. And I just recently got asked the question, why don't we use the outhaul for the big boat? Well, the outhaul, the anchors aren't big enough. So the outhaul anchors were like a quarter of a 50-gallon drum cut out, and then has cement on it, and then we put some rebar hoops in there, and so that's the anchors for the outhaul. The mooring that we attach the big boat to is a 2,000-pound stockless anchor, and so there you go, that's the difference. It's just a bigger anchor. Plus the outhaul would go dry. This anchor doesn't go dry. There you go. All right, so we've got the kayak tied to the boat. I'll move it to one of these cleats in the back. Then I just get on. The boat's so heavy that I can't push it off of the trailer. So I'll have to get in there, start the motors, and then we'll just drive it off. So let me get up in the boat and we'll get her started up. All right, battery on for some power. Get the radio turned off. So we got to get those low enough, just low enough to get in the water. Uh-oh, feels like we're caught on something. All right, we were caught on something. The bow line was wrapped around the trailer. Alright, and how this works is it's just an anchor, and it's just got a 1.5 inch rope going up I think we're 140 feet. We're dropped down into almost 70 foot of water, but it's 140 feet line of 1.5 inches. And so now I got to come up here and catch the mooring ball, and then we tie the boat to the mooring ball. I do got my hand Handy little thing. Going to pull us tight a little bit. All right, now I'm going to take you guys out there and kind of hopefully show you what is happening up front. So I'm I turn the engines off, raising them up, and that just keeps marine life from growing on the engines, because you don't want barnacles and stuff all over your engines, and it's good to keep them out of salt water. Eventually, we would like to get a freshwater washout hooked up here, and that way when we pull it out we can flush the engines at the same time. But right now we cannot do that. All right, so that ball on the bottom of it, it's got an 1.5 inch rope that goes down 120 feet. Even though we're in 70 foot of water, it goes down 120 feet. That gives us a little slack in the line, and so that ball is tied to that rope. Now these two lines that go off the ball, they aren't tied to the ball, they're tied to that rope. So if something happens to the ball and it fails, the ball will just go away, and then we'll still have these lines tied to it. And then we attach on the front of the boat, where the boat kind of down below, where it kind of swoops down, there's 2 shackles. And we have our bow lines hooked up to that shackle. And that's what these 2 lines are right here. So then we take our bow lines and we tie them to these 2 lines coming off of off the road, or the anchor line. All right, so I think we all got that. Let's get the camera in place and we'll tie this up. I mean, I get it. Sometimes it's hard to understand things if you're not physically here. And so I don't mind answering the questions, because unless you've done it, you know, in theory, people can be like, oh, well, that makes sense in theory, but I don't get what you're actually doing. All right, so this is tied. This is attached to the boat. And these are attached to the anchor. And so all I do is I come down here and I just tie a bowline. Like that. And so the other question is the only reason why we have 2 lines, we got 2 lines on the anchor, and we got 2 lines on the bow. And that is just redundancy. So in case one of the lines on the anchor fails, we've got a second. And in case one of the lines on the boat fails, we've got a second. That's what that's for. All right. Alright, so we've got both lines attached. And originally I was putting my lines on these cleats, but I noticed that when the boat swayed, these things would rub on this anchor. And so that's why I switched from the cleats up here to the bow lines. And there you go. So then this is just taking out the slack. And then once the slack, I don't know if you can see that, but once the slack gets tight, it will turn the boat nose into the wind. So there we go. We're tight here, and now you can see we're turning. So we're turning into the mooring now. There you go, and that's basically the setup for this. So when I tie the kayak or that little skiff to the mooring, that's what I'm tying it to. And then that's just how we get back and forth to shore. Is in the wintertime we use a kayak because it's easier to maneuver and in rough water and whatnot. So, and I don't want the kayak out in rough water. I mean, like, not the kayak, the little skiff. So we use the kayak in the winter and we use the skiff in the summer. And I think that's all there is to it. So I'm going to shut the door. We will turn off the batteries. The windows are closed. There you go. So you see how the boat always goes back and forth because of the wind, but it always will try to line back up with that mooring buoy. And that's how our mooring system works. And we just push off. All right. Hey, Tola. Yeah, hey, Tola. All right, so we got everything chalked up. Just let that out. There we go, now we're ready for the next time. All right, well, that's how it all works. Hopefully I explained everything. If you have any more questions, just write me a comment and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you guys for watching. Live free. We'll see you next time.